Good afternoon, Mr. Ricker. My name's Marvin Glazier, and I represent Owen and Paul Pollard. I'd like to ask you some questions myself, if I may, please. First of all, as I understand it, the night of the fire, you drove by and down into the scene of the campfire. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was on my way to the Bangor, the call on the fatal, and I was going by it, so I did stop in briefly, yeah.
Did you walk around the cabin that night?
I can't tell you whether I walked all the way around or not. I know I saw, he showed me with the gas cans that were sitting there. And I don't think I went down on the back side, all the way down.
The gas cans that you mentioned, the two that you've described to us and shown us this afternoon, is that correct?
Yeah, those two were the ones that I saw that night, that's right.
You did not see the other can that night?
No, I did not.
Is that correct?
I never saw that till that morning right after, as I testified, right on the 24th.
The next time you went back to the scene, in terms of going back, I mean, actually did some investigative work, was the 24th of
February.
February?
That's right.
And can you tell me if that scene was secured from the 18th of February to the 24th of February, if you know?
I can't tell you, no, I can't. I have no knowledge that it was, no.
Certainly the fire marshal's office did not have it secured.
Oh, no. All I told Norm Heron was, you put your fire out and leave it alone, I'll come back when I can. And to the best of my knowledge, that's what he did.
And then you indicated to us you went back a third time in search of a weapon.
That was later, after the 24th.
Can you tell us what date?
I cannot, but I would say that it was probably, several days. I would think it was probably in March by the time I went back on that. The state police file should show that because they have a lab report somewhere on that examining the gun.
Have you ever seen the results of the chemist tests that were done on either of the two gas containers that you showed us today?
I have seen them both, yeah. The Lassad report that he found no fingerprints and that he took the samples out. And I have also, while I was over there, looked at the chemist report that it was gasoline.
Gasoline inside the can.
Gasoline was in the bottles that were taken from him and sent to his lab, that's right.
Did it indicate, to your knowledge, what type of gasoline, whether high grade or regular or?
I don't think he said, I think he just said gasoline. No, I'm not sure of this because I really wasn't that interested.
But wouldn't it make a difference in terms of what type of grade of gasoline on some of your theories that you have expounded on here this afternoon?
Not particularly, no. The only difference in the different grades really is the ignition temperature, and it takes a higher temperature off the higher grade gas, like aviation gas, around 800, and the others down as well, 690.
And they did not analyze to your memory whether it was as high a grade or low grade gasoline?
No. But it would have, what I'm trying to say is, it would be no concern to me in this type fire which it was. No, in my opinion, anyway.
How about in terms of the vapor? Does it make a difference?
In the vapors?
Yes.
Not in the results. The higher octane might give off a little quicker or something, but it wouldn't be any substantial difference as far as my work and opinion.
And that chemist's analysis is still in the file in Augusta?
I believe that chemist is in Sanford, down in York County. He does the same work as Dr. Young did for us here in Bangor. I never met him, but once he came into court, and Dr. Young couldn't come with his report to explain it to the court. But I'm not a chemist, don't misunderstand me.
I understand. I'm just asking if you've seen the report. Off the record, please. Now, as I understand it, when you came back on the 18th or 19th, of that first day, let's say, you followed some tracks, is that correct?
That's correct.
And as I understand it, you tried to gauge the boot size of that person compared to your boot or your boot
I
size?
attempted to see outside that's right. Yeah.
And your boot size is?
9.
And you felt this boot size was pretty consistent with yours?
I thought it might be a little on the small side. I figured it had to be an 8.5.
Or a 9?
Yeah. But you understand, this was in snow, and it's a little difficult, didn't like measuring it there, but
I understand.
I'd put mine down and look at the track, look at that. That's right.
And on the 24th, when you went back, did you see the gun against the wall on that date?
Oh, no.
Did you make a pretty thorough inspection of the interior of the building on that date?
Not a real close one, no.
How can you explain a gun being laying up against the wall and no one seeing that until
Well,
you were called
Ejection, you know.
someone could have just picked it up that morning and laid it up there for all I know. Or they could have done it any time after we was there that day. I'm sure it wasn't there on the 18th, but on the 24th, I mean.
Have you ever seen the autopsy report that was performed, if one was performed?
On this one I haven't. I've seen all kinds of them. I've attended them. I've watched them. I'm familiar with them, but not this one.
When I ask you questions, and that's a fair statement, I'm going to try to be as specific about this instance as possible, so you can form your answers to
Could
this.
you move down one more chair? And I think I could. I'm not going to hit you. I just
No,
want to
no.
talk with you. I want to hear you before I answer you.
When I ask you a question, you can assume it really deals with this particular instance unless I tell you otherwise. That would probably look easier for everybody. Okay. So then you never have had a chance to see the autopsy if one was done in this particular case, is that correct?
That's correct. I have no knowledge of ever seen it. I've been told something about it by somebody, but I never saw
But
it.
never saw it. Okay. Now, in terms of the investigation that you made on the 24th, as I understand it, there was glass on the outside of the building, is that correct?
On the ground around it, that's
Ground.
right.
And you assumed it got there from some sort of explosion?
That would be my, because of the conditions I described, yes.
And was there glass on the ground, that is scattered on the ground, all around this particular building?
I don't recall. I remember those specific places that I noticed it, and as I said, I never really followed it much farther. I saw enough of it to say, well, that's this and that's over here, and if I did see more, I just don't have a mental remembrance of it, and I haven't didn't notice it showed me. But
There's been testimony that there was an upstairs loft in this particular building. Did you see that loft at all? Okay. How about the first time when there was a fire there a year or 3 years
no
before?
reason to go in there. All I went down and looked at the boiler room, went back into the fire. That's all the fire was confined to. And
Did anyone describe or discuss this loft with you?
I don't recall it again. I had access to some of Mars suggested reports, and there might have been something in there in relation to it. But, somewhere along the way, somebody either told me or something that the stairway came down near the fireplace, but
That's all you...
that's all I know.
Okay. All right. Myers, Michael Myers?
Michael Meyer, yeah. I'm not saying he was the one, but somewhere, or either that or looking over somebody's reports or something like that.
Now, you told us also on the 24th that you saw this other can.
On the 24th, that's
Right.
correct. That was right shortly after they left to report the body. I just walked down back with my camera, which all I had, and started taking pictures, and that's the first one I took.
And this can was in plain view.
Oh, yeah. It looks just like it. The picture shows you, the debris all around it, sitting on the ground, and the stuff fell down, and the cap was off, and I was curious. I sloshed it a little bit, and I said, there's something in it, and then I see there was water and kerosene both. I say kerosene, I smelled it. I think I know kerosene. I can smell it those days.
Was that can taken by you to Augusta?
No,
Was that can ever analyzed?
no. Never was touched, except the picture.
Is that, is kerosene, assuming you're fighting a fire, is kerosene something you want near a building as you're fighting a fire?
I wouldn't think they should have it.
Do you know, when you were at the scene of the fire, which I realize was for a short time, whether or not the firemen from the fire department were all around the building?
Well, I wasn't noticing too much. I might have the next day remember, but I just know there was like any of these firemen around the building, some standing there, some had hoses.
All right. But if a fireman's fighting a fire and sees a canister of kerosene or gasoline, wouldn't the normal process of that profession is to remove that from the area as soon as possible?
I certainly did the first two. Gasoline, they showed them to me immediately. Alarmed him.
Did he tell you they had removed those two canisters from the scene of the fire, or they just found them there?
He, I can tell you the truth, I can't recall whether he had moved them or whether he showed me the cans where he moved them and showed me where he picked them up. But even when I went back with Jameson, I showed him where they'd been set. And there was enough snow and frozen ground so the dents were very clear.
Can I just have those pictures from you, please?
Yes, that's what I'm
Showing you what's been marked as deposition exhibit number 6. This shows the...
That's the can now. That's exactly.
And just so we can see this here, you and I, this is a block wall.
Cement wall.
Right.
Cement wall.
And that represents the side of the building that the front steps were at, or the back door?
Back, yeah. The opposite end, right here.
All right. So this is the back door.
That's why there was a back door with no steps.
Right.
They were almost done with it.
And on the top of the photo, it looks like trees.
That's looks like the very bottom edge of some of the foundation right there. I think the angle this is taken, it's a doorway, might have been right here, the door stool, and this would be the wall. Well, another would be the door right over this part possibly. And that would put that can nearer to it than it would look in the photos. That photo might be a little bit deceiving on the angle it was taken.
But this can is on the ground.
That's right, that's set right on the ground, and there's been stuff right around it, and there's been stuff on it. It's, from the evidence there, I would say the can never was moved. It may not even been seen. I never even discussed it with Norman Heron that I remember of, but it was fine.
You never discussed with Norman Heron that you found that can?
Not that I recall, I did. I have a reason for it, if you want to hear it.
No, I'm just asking you. But you never discussed that with him. When's the last time you spoke to Mr. Heron about the fire? You know?
I've only seen him 2 or 3 times. I think the last time I saw Norman Heron was at Dot Fitch's retirement for a few minutes. I remember right.
More than a couple of years ago then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right.
And, it was after he gave a deposition, I remember that, because he told me about getting tossed around by you fellas.
After his deposition?
It was after his deposition.
A couple of months ago or a couple of years ago?
Well, no, Dot, I think it probably was about the first part of December, like December 5th. I can tell you exactly if I was home, because Mike Povich sent me a subpoena to go to the retirement party. When she retired, she worked in Mike's office.
Again, referring back to deposition number 6, this is the top of the wall here.
That would have had to be, yeah.
Right. And again, and I know this is going to be hard, but there appears to be some things coming out either of the wall or just on top of the wall. You see what I mean?
I see what you mean, yeah.
What are those?
I really don't know.
Was there...
All I know, it was outside of the building, and I was interested to get a picture of the can, because I wasn't going to bother with it.
Do you know what happened to the can?
No, I have no idea.
No idea at all?
No.
And this cinder block, Does that go all around the camp?
I believe the whole foundation was cinder block. I think that was even over here where the gun was needed. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was concrete. Some of the pictures, they look concrete, but I think it was cinder block foundation.
Was there any crawl space, do you know, under the first floor?
If there was, it would be very minor because it was no distance down to the ground when you get in over it. And I don't, it might have been in some parts of it, but very little.
And this, showing you to the left over here, is that a joint where the one wall runs into another, can you tell?
It almost looks as though it was, might have been this corner right here. You know, where it come back from the boiler room, but without more of a picture, unless some of the others show enough to orient it.
Was there a furnace in the boiler room?
There was when they had a fire there, and I suppose it was there now.
Did you inspect the boiler at all?
On this one, no, I don't recall that I did.
Was the boiler destroyed in the fire, do you know?
I don't know that, no. I probably know at the time, but there was no connection that I was involved in.
Now, does Alan Jameson still work for the state police?
He does. He works now for the truck weights. He has one of the trucks. He can retire. He was telling me he's done it for the last 2 or 3 years. And I've heard a lot of those fellows tell me that. And then when the time comes, they don't do it. And I can't say anything. When I worked twice as long, he did too.
You also told us that you were looking for the hinges on the door.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
That'd be like the inside door, so to speak.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Did you ever go back to look for those?
We found them.
You found the hinges. Okay, and what did that, were those still in the doorway, the door frame itself?
They were laying down there, but they were in the open position. The door by the way.
All right. So the front door, both these, this is called the screen door, was in an open position?
That was definitely it.
And your testimony also that the front door, inside door was,
Open near the opposite from the other one.
right, was also an open
The
position?
hinges indicated there was. There wasn't enough left of the door, the wooden door, and it was bent. But to answer your question, it's got to be an unusual circumstance to change a hinge during a fire. You know, if the door's open, they drop open. If they're closed, you just pick them up in position. The only exception might be one of them. If there's a door was burning away slow, it'd be possible that it would tip, swing the other way. I'd like to find them both, and I'm positive. I can't recall whether I found them both there or not. But
So you're not sure if the so-called inside wooden door was open or
it
not
was
open?
the hinges showed that it was open. That's right.
So the hinges showed it was
And I
open.
have no reason to believe anyone changed them. I had to dig them out, hunt for them. So.
Now, did you know, and just answer this yes or no, how this fire was reported to to Mr. Herron? Do you know? Just answer that yes or no.
Yes, I know.
You do know.
Yeah.
Mr. Herron told you?
Yeah.
Assuming that the person who reported the fire saw it burn for a few minutes before an explosion, would that have any effect on the testimony that you've given to us today?
If they'd heard it,
If they saw it burn
they'd
for
seen it burn
for a few
before the
minutes
explosion.
before the
It
explosion?
would depend on what type of explosion they heard. You always get explosions during fire.
Okay, when you say what type of explosion they heard, what do you mean?
That's right. Well, if it was an explosion that would, there was enough to blow windows and things out, yes, it definitely would. But the fact they heard an explosion doesn't mean a thing because there's all kind, any container in that building is going to blow. I get reports and reports about people who discovered a fire and there was all these explosions. And I could write you a list here that you'll hear after the building burning. Canned goods to support, I bet them have new steel columns that blew up. The cement was new in them, the moisture wasn't out, and the steam blew up during the fire. Any pressure, the old fire extinguishers might blow up, hot water tanks would blow up.
Was there a hot water tank in this
I
building, do you
can
know?
tell you, yeah. But, as I said, it's very, I don't pay a bit of attention to, ordinarily, to people saying, I heard explosion, because I've found out every time what it was.
Why would it be important if the fire was burning for a time before an explosion went off?
Why would it,
Why would it be important?
well, I don't quite understand your question on what
Does
conditions.
it, okay. In this particular fire, I think you've indicated that it was a very hot fire.
Right.
All right. So would you expect in a very hot fire that there'd be some immediate explosions?
I would, if what I saw there, if my opinion is correct, which I wouldn't say so, I didn't think so, I would expect that there would have been an explosion before there was any fire, or simultaneous would have started.
Excuse me,
on this.
were there some...
She can't hear you.
I think simultaneously that there would have been a fire and explosion together would be what I would expect.
So you would not expect someone to watch a fire for a moment, or for a few minutes, let's say, and then there be an explosion?
Not ordinarily. There's a number of ways it could happen, yeah.
So that's possible.
Right.
Does that mean the fire was not getting as hot as quickly as you maybe
Well,
originally
fire,
believed?
if you set any amount of fire, you'd have to have a trailer, and you might see the fire burning before it got to the trailer to go in and touch off your vapors. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
So a fire could be burning for a period of time before it touches off.
You could have seen a
vapors.
fire that had the explosion and still been the type that I, right.
Say that again, please.
You could have had a fire observed through the trees for burning a while and still had the type of an explosion that I would give the opinion on.
Would the fire be gaining in heat, though, as it's burning?
Well, of course the fire is going to gain heat, but why I'm saying it is you might have the fire burning on the slow material is a timer before it got to your main vapors to go.
Right. So there could be some time that you could watch a fire burning, even in a case like this, before it gets hot enough to
Oh,
blow.
yeah. The only thing, if somebody was up, you could look right in the window and see the fire, then I'd say no.
I understand. So, but someone watching through the trees could see this happen.
That's right.
And so that would mean the fire is not as hot as they're watching it as it would be after the explosion.
That's right. It'd be very rapid after the explosion.
Now, you've dealt with people who have been through fires before. Is that right? You've dealt with people who've been through fires before,
Yeah,
in terms of interviewing and so on.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
And they have tried to tell you what transpired, is that right?
Right.
I'll just take a quick break. Okay? Mr. Rick, I don't mean to belabor the point, but I just want to know, when you took this picture, which is deposition number 6,
Yeah.
were you standing sort of at the front doorstep of the cabin?
The front step, no. Yep, completely back in the cabin, way down here.
Right.
Look,
So
I'm
you-
looking up this way.
All right, so you're referring you to exhibit number 3. The back is at the top of the page.
Well, this is your boiler room.
Mhm.
But that door that I'm talking about, where the cannon is over in this section, I'm not too sure of that diagram where, but it's right in this section.
Right, as I understand, you didn't draw this diagram.
That, I didn't draw that one, no.
So you're standing in the back.
I'm looking somewhere up this way. I could be that angle, this angle, but I've gone down the back of it and I was looking up in here. And it was, my recollection is that it was practically right near the door, whether it was right directly under it or right beside it, just like something.
When you say a door, there's
Well,
no...
there was a back door there. That come out of the building over there.
Back door was destroyed in the fire?
Yeah, as far as I know, I didn't see any evidence the door. Some of the pictures of mine probably show that they had an impression.
Well, how did you know there was a back door there?
Huh?
How did you know there was a back door there?
Well, the door still showed right up there.
Where's that?
It doesn't show in the picture, but I saw it.
You're saying there were steps to the back door?
No, there was no steps. It was just a door opened up on the building. You opened it up and there you had 4 feet down there.
But that doesn't show in the picture.
No, it does not. At least I can't see it now. I might have been able to the day or afterwards.
And you do agree those are trees in the background, the very top of deposition number 6?
Objection.
I don't know what that is. As I say, if I had some other picture that showed that part of it, I don't know how many of these would show it or.
Excuse me, those don't look like trees, small trees to you, the very top of the picture?
Well, they do. They look like they could be thought whether it's shadows or what, I don't know. A pretty good bunch of trees. Yeah.
All right.
So there ought to be some of those that's taken off the side of it for the driveway. That's taken from up front where you come in the front door.
Well, let's look at this picture. This is deposition number 14.
This one right here.
All right, that's looking from the front door,
There's a doorstep and they're looking right into the fireplace, that's right.
and this back door would have been somewhere behind the
That's right,
fireplace
right,
here.
right behind it.
There's certainly trees in that background behind the fireplace.
Oh, those trees are down back in the building, that's right.
When you say down back in the
Down
building,
in here, sure.
and when you say down here, you're saying at
Yeah,
the
right.
top and behind, on the top of deposition exhibit number 3, so it'd be on the other side of where that door, back door was that you
Yeah,
found
this would
the
have to be
can.
taken inside to show them.
That was taken inside?
You'd have to be inside the building looking out to see those trees that
Yeah.
you're talking about down this way.
Right, that's what disturbs me about exhibit number 6. It
Well,
almost
I
looks
can-
like it's on the
I can
inside
see you
looking out.
wasn't there like I was, so
I understand that. Okay, I have no further.
Just a few on redirect. Bill, you said in response to one of Marvin's questions that you believed that the can had never been moved from the time of the fire to when you observed it. That's the
That's correct.
can under the back door.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Because the debris was right around it, like it shows in the picture, that way up. In other words, the can was on ground level and the material and stuff that had fallen down from the fire was built right up around it. I think it'll show you the picture where it was moved.
Okay, do you know where the fire was reported from? In other words, was there another camp on that lane?
I know there's a house down on some Sumac Road, I guess you call it. It's on the opposite side of the road, somewhere near where the driveway goes up here. But I can see it coming in and out, but I haven't got a clear recollection of just exactly where it is.
Okay. Is it far enough away from that camp in your recollection so that if you observed the camp on fire from that other building, that you'd already have a fairly large fire on your hands?
Objection, Mr. Foundation.
Well, for the amount of, as I recall, the amount of trees down through there, it would have to be fairly good fire to see it from down there, because they're down low and they're down to the lakefront.
Do you have a clear recollection of the lie of the land between those two buildings?
Yeah, that picture of my driveway here shows you going right down to the other road, and that camp was on the other side of the road. I can't say how close to that driveway.
Okay, and which exhibit are you referring to that you're looking down the road? You've gone past it.
Yeah, by Chef Rod.
And which number is that?
That's Exhibit 8. This shows you your stand of wood. And this road runs right down, and I think that it's a lake, all right, that's looking out on the ice. But this road runs right down to the one that runs along the road, and the camp was on the waterfront down on that side, across the other road.
Was it possible?
Patch of wood there.
Are you sure the camp was on the waterfront, or could it have been on the corner on this side?
Objection, Levy.
Well,
No, my remembrance of it, I never went to the camp. It was pointed out to me, and I just believe it was one of those. I didn't think there was any other camps on that side of the road. I thought they were all on the water side, but I didn't.
but going back to what you were saying is, what were you saying about seeing a fire through that stand of trees anyway? What could you just tell me? Does that depend on whether the camp was on the water or a little closer, or, you know?
No, anywhere down on that road.
Objection,
that went up to the
Levy.
tree.
If it's anywhere on the road, what?
If you were anywhere on Summit Road,
Okay.
you'd have to look up the length of that driveway and then some to the building uphill through those trees. It's all wooded.
Okay. You've talked several times about the mechanism of what you call a trailer. Something about starting a fire with a trailer. Could you explain for the record what you mean by that?
Objection, that wasn't covered before. Go ahead and answer the question.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
I mean, it's a trailer for the fire to be ignited to this point A and go to B where you got your main fuel load and your main fire. You can use it in any number of things. I've done it to dispose of black powder and explosives. I'll take the container and walk down the road 15 to 20 feet, set the can down the back end, light it, and get rid of it. And you can do it with the gasoline. You can run down the road with the gasoline, run down the spout, set your can down, go back up the other end. If you don't wait too long and light it, it'll go down and light it.
In arson investigations, is that a method of setting fires that you've run across?
Many times, especially when they use gasoline.
Okay, now,
Some quick, then they're
okay, did you, there was some questioning about whether the fire burned slowly for a while and then there was an explosion. Did any area of this camp disclose to your investigation an area where there had been a slow burn before, rather than, you know, a general hot burn?
No, I didn't see any evidence of it. No, left there.
Now you said that just for a moment, when Marvin was questioning, you said that you knew there was a back door there because you saw a door stool or something?
No, the door sill,
Okay, and could you explain exactly what you mean?
or threshold.
Okay, that remained?
It was showed you in the wall. And some of the bottoms, very bottoms of your sill there,
Okay, now could you see that on the photograph?
no, you couldn't. That's why I can't place it.
Okay, now,
I think I see a photo somewhere that did show that.
okay, now did you, is there any doubt in your mind that the photograph that you took, which I believe is exhibit number 6, was taken,
I got it.
okay, outside the back of the building looking towards the foundation?
And what was your question on
Is there any doubt in your mind that that photo, after all Mr. Glazier's questioning, is there any doubt in your mind that that picture was taken, you know, in back of the building looking back towards the
Oh,
foundation?
no, that's the only reason I took the picture to show the can, because I wanted the picture of the can, because I wasn't going to take it.
Okay, now, on the last page of deposition exhibit number 2, you have a sketch that you said you made fairly contemporaneously with your investigation?
Right.
Okay. Did you indicate where you found a gas can on that sketch?
Well, and this, it looks so it was to if this is the doorway, which I assume is what it was, because your boiler room's over here, it would have been, if you stepped out of the door, it'd be on the right of it, on the left as you went in, and that's my recollection. If it wasn't right under it, it was right handy to it. I'm just not that clear on it, because I had no reason to worry about it, but that's a different thing.
Were you know, Marvin asked you, how'd you know there was a door? And you've testified that you believe there was a door stool you've seen somewhere, and, you know, just
Another photo, and I also had marked the door on the plan, and I've seen some other, either sketches or, I don't know, the gestures and stuff going through, or maybe another picture that could
Okay.
definitely show it.
But is there, in terms of what you observed where the can was on the 24th, is there any doubt in your own mind now that the can was very near that door?
No, it was out back and it was close to what, in my opinion, was the doorway out with no stairs.
Thank you, that's all the questions.
Can you tell us how close it was to the door? Can you tell us how close it was to the door?
How far it was from it?
Yes.
No, but it was close to it. It's my recollection, it was very close. It would be like you had it there all ready to set in, or you reached down and dropped it out, or whatever. It'd be just something like leave outside your house when you.
And
The only reason I took that picture was because I wasn't going to bother with the can, and I figured, well, I'll show it. Here it is, a week nothing after the fire. There's water mixed in with whatever's in it, which I feel was kerosene. I've got no way now of telling how much is what. We got the other can, so this one out here for what it's worth.
but you're satisfied the liquid in this can in exhibit number 6 was not gasoline?
No, my opinion was kerosene.
Kerosene.
I can't smell now. I lost my smell about the time I retired, but back before, I don't think I've ever sent anything to the lab that they didn't find it when I said it was. But I'd rather have them say than me.
All right. And in this case, you did not take this?
I did not take it. I just simply checked and it was about half full, and then I see that there was water in it. And it was open, so the water could have got in there while they were fighting the fire. I don't see how they could have moved it there because it was right down to the ground. It certainly wasn't put there after it was over. Whether they could have moved it there at the early stages of the fire, some firemen, I still don't know.
So in other words, it could have been moved there?
But
It could have been moved there?
it's possible, certainly.
I have nothing.
Somebody moved it there.
I have nothing further.
Let's see. In terms, once again, of what's shown on photograph number, deposition exhibit number 6, we can orient that gas can to what you believe is the corner where the boiler room protrudes.
Yeah, the picture here looks it, but it looks a little closer than I remembered it. But if that's the case, your door would have been up in here where it looks like you're talking about trees. I don't know what that is. Those reflections.
Well,
There's no trees. I know
there are
that.
trees in front of the can too, aren't there?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
but they're quite a ways away from that. Not too many in front of it. As you can see here, they're on both sides and the back of it and across the road. And stuff like that.
Well, there were also a great deal of debris and standing bits of wall and timbers, were there not,
Oh yeah.
as a result of this fire?
Somewhere down around it there.
Do you see the board that is dropped down in that picture?
And this board up here.
Yes.
Yeah, that. Looks like a plank. It certainly was down there, I would assume, at a later date from somewhere.
Could you mark this, please?
They may have thrown some stuff down on there after the fire was out. It almost looked like they had to no more. These pieces of log, I wouldn't worry so much about because you can't see the other side of them. They might have come from this side thrown over.
Let me show you, Bill, what's been marked as Ricker exhibit number 19 and ask if you recognize what that is.
I sure do.
And tell us, what is it?
Well, at the time of the fire, I'm glad it showed my recollection was right, that this door sill was on the wall.
And what is, if you...
This is the door that I was describing.
Is that the back door of the camp as
Right.
you observed at the time you were out there with
And it's
Miss...
definitely nearer the boiler room than my remembrance was of it.
Okay.
I thought it was over this way a little farther.
And is that, I mean, I know you didn't take that picture. Do you know who did take it?
I understood it was Mike Myers, but I...
Right, but you have no first-hand knowledge of that.
Huh?
You have no first-hand knowledge of what...
No, all I know is showed me, but I can plainly identify it. But I got, apparently it was taken off the first fire that I went down and looked at in the
Okay.
boiler room, the small boiler room.
Okay, and,
I would guess these logs came from this, down on top of that stuff.
and where is number 6 now?
I can understand.
Okay.
Well, I'm not supposed to supply stuff you don't ask me how to. Most of them.
Okay, orienting
I
these
see through it though.
two pictures together, does that in any way change your testimony that the gas can was found very close to the
No,
door?
I think you'll find it's right down here, just like it's marked on, right here. I'm not saying it was here or here, but within, I would say it's within a foot of where I've been telling you it was.
And more than that, anyone can look at these pictures for themselves, I guess. Okay,
This answers a lot of questions right here.
that's all the questions I have.
So you're now satisfied that this is the outside wall?
That's right.
And I'm showing you, again, exhibit number 6.
Yeah.
See this, where I'm pointing my pen to, it looks like a square.
Yeah, in the cement
Right,
block.
but where is that shown in the
I
exhibit
don't know,
number?
because you look at this picture, you'd say that was a cement wall without any block, wouldn't you?
Right, so I'm asking you, where in exhibit number 19 is this square block?
Well, right, I would say that right here, but they just don't show, like, whether they had a skim coat over them originally and it come off from frost or something, I don't know. But, you see this stain right here?
Right.
You see this one right here?
Is that what you think that is?
Yes, I'm positive it is.
Okay. And
I think you can see it.
I can't, but that's, you're the professional.
No, but see
And what happened to the door sills? Did those get burned in the fire?
I didn't even look at it at that time. The door was gone after the fire when I was there to take the picture. But I know that there was something up here to show me where the door had been.
No further questions.
Let's see the back of that one.
You can see what it means. See this mark here?
Okay.
See
Well,
it?
I'm just asking you that, okay, and at the time that you made this notation near rear door of Kenny Fire on the 24th of February 1981, that,
Sorry, you go with your question one more.
okay, you made this notation here that says near rear door of Kenny Fire
Yeah,
on February 24th, 1981,
right,
from what you observed at the scene that day.
right.
Thank you, that's it.
Nothing further.
One